Hey guys, so I know it's been a while since I've done a sit-down video like this, but I do have an injury that I'm dealing with, and just life in general, so it's been kind of crazy. But I do want to get back into making consistent YouTube videos. So today we are talking about the MacBook Pro M1 Max 16-inch computer. So this definitely isn't going to be a super technical video, but I just kind of want to give my real-world experience based on my upgrade from the 2016 MacBook Pro model versus the newer 2021 16-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro. So I remember when I went to Best Buy to order this 2016 15-inch MacBook Pro, and I was super excited. So this was the first model that actually got the touch bar right there up at the top there, and the touch bar was cool. I always thought it looked really cool, but it wasn't really super functional to me. I did like adjusting the volume and the brightness with it, but I mean that was pretty much it. And to be honest, it's a lot easier to do those things when you have physical keys, so it really wasn't that useful for me. But it was cool they tried something new. But at that time I was upgrading from, I think it was a 2011 MacBook Pro, so the speed upgrade was really noticeable, and even today this computer is still really fast. But we'll definitely get into why I felt like I needed to upgrade. But before I get into the specifics of the upgrade, let's get into some of the more like surface level things. So in terms of the actual specs for each computer, the let me turn that on mute. So the 15-inch computer right here, this was a 256 gigabyte storage computer, so there wasn't a lot of storage in the computer. I mean, at the time, I guess you could consider it a lot in 2016. This 2016 model also only had 16 gigabytes of RAM, which, I mean, again, like depending on what you're doing, it could be plenty. But as technology evolves, 16 gigabytes of RAM might be a pretty big limiting factor for you. So it really depends on what you're using and what your workflow is. Now, this 2021 MacBook Pro is the M1 Max version, so it's the 16-inch. It's not noticeably bigger than the 15-inch, but when you turn the screen on, you definitely notice that you have more screen real estate, so that's a good thing. The 2021 model is noticeably heavier to me, but that's not a big deal to me because when I'm carrying it around in a bag, it's on my shoulder anyways, so like I said, not a big deal. It's also noticeably thicker, but again, not a big deal if you are traveling with a computer and you have it in a bag that's going to fit a 15 or 16-inch computer anyways. So I did purchase both of these computers in space gray. This one looks gold because of the lighting down here, but it is space gray. I just think it has a more of a premium look, but I do understand that people who had those older MacBook Pros that were thicker, prior to 2016 might have more of a nostalgic feel if they go with the original gray model. Like I said, with the new computer, I don't really miss the touch bar, but I thought it looked cool in the old model, but not a big deal. I do love all of the ports that they added to the new MacBook Pro. Even though they're bringing those back from the older versions, they're nice to have. With the SD card, I think it's nice. I mean, I still use an SD card with my Canon EOS R camera. So then again, my card reader that I have right now that handles the CF Express Type B cards also has a built-in SD card reader right under it. So it's not like I had to carry a separate reader anyways. I am mainly dealing with the CF Express Type B over SD cards. So it's not the biggest deal to have an SD card reader built into the computer. And then the HDMI port is pretty awesome because that's just a really handy thing to have. The new keyboard on the 2021 model is really nice to have, especially since I had so many issues with the 2016 model butterfly keyboard. I eventually had to get this keyboard replaced, and even after I got it replaced, I still had issues with it. So that was a pain, and it was a lot noisier than the newer keyboard. So I'm very glad to have a brand new experience with a nice feeling keyboard that most likely, won't cause me issues. Loading up applications on the new computer was pretty instantaneous and was really nice. Now on the 2016 model, I wouldn't say it was slow, but when you got to applications that required a little bit more energy from the computer and more memory, like Safari and Lightroom, then you can definitely see the computer working harder. And in those instances, the applications definitely took longer to load. So all of those upgrades are pretty awesome, but why did I really upgrade? Like I said, the 2016 model is still relatively fast for today's standards, and I probably could have gotten away with keeping this computer for another year or two, but when it comes to workflow, it was definitely slowing me down a lot. When I used to have the Canon EOS R6, it wasn't that bad because the 20 megapixel files ran pretty smoothly in Lightroom, and I was able to sort of edit and call through those images in a pretty quick manner. But when I upgraded to the Canon EOS R5, I noticed a pretty significant slowdown in my workflow. Even, moving from picture to picture in Lightroom with those 45 megapixel files, it was a pretty slow and tedious workflow. So, there are photographers out there like Sam Hurd. If you haven't heard of him, definitely look up his Patreon. He gives a lot of great tips on how to optimize your computer so that Lightroom will function in the quickest manner that it can. But even then, I was still having a hard time working with these photos on this computer. To be fair, this is a 5-year-old computer, so it is what it is. But with this 2021 model, photo editing with the Canon R5 RAW files is a breeze. So everything is really instantaneous, and it's really nice when you're calling through thousands of images to be able to do that in the quickest manner possible. Even just using things like the healing brush is a lot quicker, so it definitely feels more natural and is a huge relief. Talking about export times, that was a huge pain with my 2016 model. So right before I got this 2021 model, I had to edit a wedding on this older computer, and I got curious about what the export times would be with each computer. So I actually edited the wedding on the old computer, copied the catalog, and put it onto my new computer, and then I tested out what the export time would be on each computer. On the 2016 model, it took 3 hours and 10 minutes to export probably almost 1,500, I would say 1,500 RAW files from the Canon EOS R5, and on this new computer it only took 45 minutes, so the difference was pretty big. Now, those with the Canon EOS R5 and R6, if you're shooting those H.265 internal files with the camera, with these old Intel Max, that it's pretty much impossible to edit the footage without transcoding it first. But with the new M1 and M1 Max M Pro computers, you can easily work with that H.265 footage. So that's really nice to have. Being able to edit 4K in the highest resolution without any hiccups, that's really nice. Now with the 2016 model, I had trouble even, uploading 8K footage into, Final Cut. So I think I also tried Premiere, but the computer was so slow that it just wasn't even worth it. So now with the M1 Max computer, the 16-inch, you can edit those 8K RAW files really easily. I did find with Final Cut that you have to put it into performance mode instead of better quality, so you can't edit with the highest resolution displayed on the computer, but that's not the biggest deal. If I were to purchase the Atomos Ninja 5 Plus, so I could record 8K ProRes RAW on that external device, then editing that footage would be a breeze with the new computer, just because it's already in that ProRes format. I also can use the current Ninja V that I have right now and edit 5K footage that's cropped. So if I did want that extra resolution, I could do 5K RAW with this setup that I have right now. I did notice that when I tried 5K RAW with the Canon EOS R5 and the Atomos, that the noise was pretty noticeable when I uploaded it to the computer, especially in the shadows. But with these newer MacBook Pros, it's a lot faster when you run it through a noise reduction software. So, even with 8K RAW footage, I had no problem running that footage through noise reduction software, and it was relatively fast. Also, with this new display on here and having HDR capabilities, I am excited to try to get more into an HDR workflow in the future. The Canon EOS R5 can record an HDR PQ, so I'm excited to start playing around with that. And everything else on this computer is really awesome too. So the speakers are amazing, and having that spatial audio feature when you're watching movies is really cool. I know this doesn't have too much to do with photography or videography, but I figured I'd just mention it. The fast charging with the MagSafe charger is a really nice feature to have, and that kind of brings me to the battery life, and that's especially coming from this 2016 model. If I was video editing, I'd probably get maybe 20 to 30 minutes if I'm editing in 4K on this older computer. It kind of just felt like, why did I have a laptop? Because it really wasn't that portable. I always had to have it connected to some kind of power source anyways. It was still nice to bring to like a coffee shop or something. But with this new one, I definitely get 3 to 4 hours of pretty intensive video editing before I need to plug it in again. So really, really nice to have some actually useful battery life. That's pretty much it for this video. I just kind of wanted to let you know my experience with these two computers. The 2016 model MacBook Pro, when they first added the touch bar, to the first redesign since then, 2021 M1 Max 16-inch. Both awesome computers. I definitely like the look of the 2016 model more, but this new computer is a powerhouse, and I'm really glad to have it. I have to decide what to do with this old one. I'm figuring I'd probably just sell it, but let me know if you guys have this new computer, or if you're thinking about upgrading. Let me know in the comments section below, and let me know if you have any other questions about this M1 Max computer right here. I will talk to you guys later. See ya.